Okay, we'll start now. Thank you. We'll make a start now. It's just gone 6 o'clock. And I'll read out the in-person committee meetings to all present. This meeting this evening will be live streamed to the public. Any exempt private items on the agenda, the live stream will cease prior to the meeting moving into private. There might be a short delay. A recording of the meeting will be available on the Council's website within 24 hours of the meeting. Attendees are required to wear face masks on entry to the building and meeting room, which may be removed when seated. Would everyone in the hall please ensure you have scanned the QR NHS app poster with your mobile phone located at the entrance of the chamber? Would members and officers please remember to switch microphones on when speaking and speak directly into the microphone, switch microphones off when finished. Reporting officers joining using Teams, use the hands up icon on your screen for questions and comments. Please turn your cameras on when addressing the committee. Please switch mobile phones off or place them on silent. So I'll go straight onto the agenda proper. I'll supposed to do the evacuation procedure as well while we're here. Emergency evacuation procedure, Council chamber, turn left, follow the green emergency exit signs to the main town hall entrance and proceed to the assembly point in St George's Square. First item on the agenda, apologies for absence.
Yes, Chair, apologies from Councillor Lovell, Abbas Hussain and T. Salim.
Minutes of the previous meetings on the 21st of January and the 2020 and the 18th of May 2021. Everybody happy with those? I'll take that as a yes and duly sign them. Section 106 of the Local Government Finance Act.
None that I'm aware of, Chair.
Any disclosures of interest tonight?
Again, none that I'm aware of.
Any urgent business?
None, Chair.
So we'll go straight on to the report, the draft statement of gambling licensing policy, page 25 to 116. Who's going to introduce it?
Thank you, Chair. I think that will be me. Can everybody hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, members. Thank you for inviting me to present the report. Basically, as I'm sure you're aware, we are required under the legislation to review our statement of gambling licensing policy for every 3 years. It is that time again, and therefore we are putting the report to you as the licensing committee. Very few changes this time. So actually, really, the report is focusing on the 4 key areas, which is around the number of gambling premises in the Borough of Luton and the updates for those, the updates from the Gambling Commission figures, the update to the local area profile, which is a relatively new part of the policy, and also, as we have with the statement of licensing policy, a section on the integration with other statutes, namely in this case the Equalities Act and the Human Rights Act under our public sector equalities duty. So if I just touch on, you'll notice when you come to your report at page, I'm scrolling through now, I think that's page 33, with regards to the licensed premises and permitted premises. The top 5 list there are those premises that are licensed. So 4 casino licenses, so there's no change there. 2 bingo licensed premises, again, no change from the previous policy. Betting shops, there's been a decrease, previously 34 down to 25. Family entertainment centres from 1 to 0. There's been an increase in the adult entertainment centres up from 1 to 4. We then come on to the permit premises, basically unlicensed family entertainment centres up from 2 to 3. Alcohol premises with permits is down from 46 to 44. Likewise for club permits, 14 to 12. And also lottery registrations are also down from 46 to 30. The other point before I finish, I think, is just to make it clear that actually, unlike the statement of licensing policy, this policy is much lower in the hierarchy. When people come to apply to us, they've already been assessed by the Gambling Commission. They will already have their operator's license. individuals will in effect have their personal licenses issued. So actually the provision that the local authority is looking at is with regards to actually the physical nature of the premises. So it's a much narrower provision than maybe we would see under the alcohol, entertainment and late night refreshment licensing. And with that, they come with a whole set of conditions which are how they are to operate their business. So actually, as I say, it is much more to do with things like access, the structure of the premises and location. So there are some elements of discretion with regards to where these are located. That ties in with the area profile. So I think with that, given the limited number of changes and bringing it in line, obviously, with the new references to the legislation and changes in legislation, I'll conclude the report there, Chair, and open up to any questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. On the background to Luton, Luton has a population. I can't work out quite what the figure is.
Good point.
It looks like 2,213,000.
I think we might have added in another 2 there.
Yeah, so it should be 221,350.
Yeah, we will rectify that. Thank you, Chair.
You have to do a roll call.
Thank you.
Anna, please.
No, Tony, this might have always been there, but on page 55, your numbering of it, I'm trying to find it on my own ones.
It's always when you go put the spot.
It's that's 54.
Page 55 of the document pack, Chair.
Oh, yeah. No, I've got it. It's where it's expected. Where did we find it, Matt?
Second from bottom paragraph.
Oh, yes. Second from bottom, it says where the council imposes a condition requiring door supervisors, then such personnel will be expected to hold a security industry authority licence. Now, if they don't have one, has that always been in the actual thing?
Yeah, so that's a sort of standard condition. So where a license looks to establish that security are required, then because of the potential for conflict, we would expect them to hold the appropriate SIA license. In this case, would be the door supervisor's qualification and license.
Yeah. It was the word expected. If they didn't have one, what would we have any? Could we challenge it?
The reason we use the term expected is there is some provision under the SIA licensing for buddying up. So where people are training and they're getting experience, you can have one licensed SIA operative and you can have somebody who is in effect in training. So there are some provisions there. So I think we're just being careful with the wording to say, rather than saying must, i.e. everybody will have to be having a SIA license, that's to allow that provision where people can be trained as part of their on-job sort of qualification and also comply with the provisions of the SIA.
Tony, do we still issue the licenses?
No, we don't.
We used to, didn't we? The door supervisors, yeah.
We did, and I was one of the first, I believe.
Oh, so we don't anymore. So it's a national scheme. So
it is a national scheme, all undertaken by the Security Industry Association.
Haji Abid.
Chair, it's not a question, perhaps just a comment. On gambling in the past, I perhaps voted, certain areas, in certain way. It's the effects of gambling. I think that it also needs to be noted here, and there is an effect of gambling as well on people as well that we need to adhere to as well. What I'm trying to say, in the past, perhaps in the council, I have voted for casinos because the argument's been presented that it will create so much jobs, but I think we don't look at the effects of gambling as well. I think just generally on that.
I think there's something that we really can't take into consideration because it's the legislation the gambling legislation, which there have always been quite a few questions in Parliament, but it's Parliament that do the various licensing acts, and so we just have to operate under that relevant licensing act. Am I right, Tony?
You are quite correct. There's always the issue. There is the moral stance, obviously, and that is unfortunately something we can't take into account with the policy. The policy is the policy. It sits under the regulations. But as Councillor Taylor said, there is some additional work that we're going on, and I have given some assurances to members as part of the consultation that actually we are working with public health with regards to the impacts of gambling. But I think one of the bigger concerns is regards to the whole online gaming, which has become far more prevalent since the introduction of this act. And we're looking to see how we can interact with that and see what work we can do with the Gambling Commission around that. But there is an assurance from ourselves as officers that we will tie in with public health. We will look, and in my view, and this is my view, I think there is a link between alcohol, drugs, and gambling. They're all addictive elements, and I think we should be treating that in the same way. And I think there's positive discussion so far with public health to see how we can take that forward.
No further questions? Then I think we adopt our licensing policy for the next 3 years then. And the recommendation, note the response received in relation to the consultation carried out, approve the changes made to the current statement of gambling policy for the next 3 years. Everyone agreed? Yeah. No dissent? And that? Yeah, okay. And so we'll do the vote. All those in favour of adopting the policy, please show. Anyone against? And one abstention. Okay, I think that's it then, isn't it, Matt? We're done. Thank you very much.
Lovely. Thank you, Chair. Just to say that obviously this will now go forward to full council, which I believe is next week.
The normal, yeah. Okay.
Lovely.